Today we are going to be going over the AlphaGo game versus Sedol Game 1 that occurred last night. Some of you may have watched it, some of you may not have watched it. It's definitely something you're probably starting to hear about because there's a lot of posts going around on Facebook and on Reddit. You probably had, unfortunately, the game spoiled for you. In the event there is someone who hasn't seen it yet, I won't spoil the ending for you, so I'm not going to talk about who wins and who loses, so people in chat refrain from doing so as well. So what I'm going to go over first is I'm going to go over the game and just kind of talk about the moves. In the end, I'm going to talk about which side made which mistake and how things could have turned out a little bit differently. Because there's probably a few people out there that haven't actually seen the game yet and aren't sure how it ends. So suffice it to say, Sedol took black against AlphaGo, who was white. They were playing with Chinese rule set. Therein, white gets 7.5 Komi. However, one interesting thing about it is, let's see, I watched the stream with Michael Redman, and I think I recall them saying that the program wasn't responding to the Komi. It was still as if it was like 6.5, so it wasn't doing anything different or special for the extra point that it had, supposedly. I heard it was calculated based on 6.5. It was doing its calculations based on 6.5. But who knows? Yeah, spoiler alert, someone won. That is true. Good spoiler. So, Sedol opens up very, very interestingly against AlphaGo. We see AlphaGo taking 4 points, which apparently is not unexpected. They hazarded a guess that AlphaGo is avoiding the 3-4 points because the 4-4 ones have less variations, therefore less complication involved with the 3-4 rather than the 4-4. Or what? No. Sorry, 3-4 have more complications than the 4-4. So that could be a thing. It also became rather apparent that Sedol had a plan in mind. And that plan was to get the program out of its database and have to start reading and making decisions. So we see something that we haven't really seen before, and that was this move. This move is kind of interesting in that clearly this is a micro-Chinese variation, but I don't think we've ever seen this in relationship with the upper right 3-4 stone being played. So this is very, very odd right away from Sedol. But it's clear we can pretty much know why he played it. He's trying to get AlphaGo out of its comfort zone, so to speak. Like all of the games that it's been playing with itself or whatever, this is probably not a game position that it's ever run across before. So it now has to make decisions. AlphaGo approached immediately, nice and close. White pincered, as you would expect. This would be very unusual, for example, because this kind of thing is way too far away from R8. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. You could make the argument to play this way if this was at R9. This is a little bit better relationship. Unfortunately, no matter what you play, you are looking to have F17 be attacked, and you wouldn't really want to invite this variation unless the upper left hand wasn't already played and you can just change directions and keep playing from here. So we kind of reject that variation. And instead, he pincers. Great Wall versus AlphaGo. Actually, you are actually onto something there, Foco. One interesting thing that I was wondering if he was going to do is if he was going to play something unorthodox like that. Again, just to kind of get it out of the normal games that it can draw from. This was his answer. Nothing crazy like the Great Wall or the Black Hole or opening up with Tengen, but this. So, okay, cool. Now, AlphaGo plays here. Sedol Black Hole would be fun to watch. It would be interesting. It'd be nail-biting to watch. Because, like, do you know what you're doing here? Like, have you ever done this before? Or are you kind of making it up as you go along? But alright, the upper right, Alpha attaches. The Sedol responds. White pulls back. And we see a Joseki ensue. I will actually go over this move. I was thinking about going back and reviewing it later, but I will talk about this briefly. Most reviews of this I've seen will pretty much tell you the same thing that even Kogos will tell you. Or that if you're, maybe you're on, I think this is true, that even on Gojon's website, if you're subscribed to her and doing her problems and whatnot, this is the wrong order locally. We wouldn't want to play this way because it gives the black the ability to go to the fourth line. Usually we jump out first and force this response. That way when we keep low, black is just that. Black is low. We haven't given him the opportunity to go and get more profit here. I don't think it had a plan because it's the same variation as what we're about to see. I mean, this variation doesn't stop the fact that his next move is still going to be to pincer here. I mean, if that's what you want to do, you could still do it. So it just seems like an arguably bad decision from White. A lot of people are referring to this as AlphaGo's first mistake. So, alright, White is making use of the influence, which is good. Bear in mind that this stone is nice and flexible, so when deciding which of these two stones we're going to defend, it's not going to be this one, because we can attach at A, we can live in the corner, we can still jump out. We've got a lot of different ways that we can play here in order to defend or utilize the Aji of F17. So black jumps out. White has to push on the fourth line again, giving black some pretty nice territory on the right-hand side, before trying to go back and use that to cap black. At this point, this kind of feels like a very Japanese-oriented style, because you've got like influential play currently at work to try to, you know, punch a group around. Black responds here, because if we respond here, for example, you're just pushing your opponent into attacking you. Like, you don't want to do this. You don't want to get into this kind of shape, because all we're doing now is just strengthening this like little white group into attacking our 3 stones. We might be able to live with F17. We could probably live as is right now with F17 and cry, yay, we won, happy days. But it's actually not going to be very good. So yeah, this would just go and keep putting a lot of pressure on the 3 stones of black, and we wouldn't really want to do that. That would be very, very bad. So we're not going to do this way. Instead, Sedol plays the only move that can be played, really, and to attach here. The idea here being, quite obviously, the kind of the reverse of what we just saw. That if this stone gets stronger, then F17 can come back to life, and we'll put a lot of pressure on the J16 stone. So right now the game is pretty easy to follow. So White chooses to attack, which I like. White is not going to just, for example, do this. This would be the terrible result, is if we just played this normal sequence and then, I don't know, tried to get shape here or something. Because at that point, you know, what happens to this J16 stone? That doesn't seem to have gone very, very well for white. Right? So we have to counterattack. The idea behind we're trying to get strength off of this stone in order to attack. So white says, nope, not going to let you do that one. We're going to cut through. Black connects and gets cut as expected. A variation that you probably don't want to go into blindly unless you know how to live in this area. I guess the first question, though, is how do we know we can live in this area? And we can see that this is a fairly large area to have access to. We have a lot of forcing moves here. We have a forcing move here. That has to get a response. We have forcing move here. Gonna get a response. And we can threaten to get shape. We'll see that later. Unfortunately, this isn't something that you can just say, alright, I'm going to live with now, because this would be bad. If white made shape here, then whoever just gave you, or whoever you're playing against, you'll have to take stones against them, because this is really, really strong. Yeah, you're right, whip tree. Yep, there's a peep first. Sorry. I got distracted by the interruption. Yep, sorry. Oh well. Same rule applies, though. If we just go back and live here and white gets to make shape in the middle, then bad news bears for everyone. So we have no choice but to cut and make this a little bit more complicated. White doesn't want to be captured, so he comes out. Black threatens to capture the M13 stones. White says, I don't want to be captured there either, and Hane. Black extends and says, can I capture your J17 stones? And white says, you cannot capture my J17 stones, and you cannot capture my middle stones either. So I'm going to come out here. Black defends. Now white can come out, because if we do it in a different order, we're going to be in trouble, because the push and the cut hurts if we just try and surround the 3 right now. So alright. Don't want to get the moves wrong again. Come out, yes, and then we connect. Okay. Now, Black is asking, can I surround your entire group? And white says no. We have to decide which stones are more important to defend, these two or these two. This is quite a simple question. Which ones are more important? These ones are putting pressure on white's group here. These are just doing the smaller ones. So we're going to jump out. Also threatening to surround again the large group. AlphaGo puts pressure on the base. Black lives. Because now we have Miai. We can connect. We can also make an eye here. So lots of ways right now for this to live. So black is completely fine on top at N18 right now. So with black completely fine on N18, and with white having lost a really, like, any eye shape, white has to run. Right? Black leans to attack, because the board is empty. So if he can somehow get a wall here, he's getting a wall in an area that's undeveloped right now. Now, white will get some thickness as well, But black is happy with himself on the right-hand side, so he doesn't mind that thickness. Poke. Throw in. None of this changes the fact that Sedol is still alive there. He still has, in fact, you can probably visualize it even better than you could before, that things like this is going to be a forcing move to get an eye here, that he's got this right here. He also has things like the threat to connect. There's like a bunch of different ways for Sedol to live back in here. I remember watching this game, and he actually smiled when he saw white playing these moves. So I wonder if he's actually viewing this as a mistake by AlphaGo getting rid of co-threats, maybe, for later on. Because black was alive, he's still alive. So I guess he's wondering what was the point of the exchange here between these two stones. Test 1, 2, 3, 4 says, I wonder if h10 before defending like this would be better. h10 before defending like this. h10. Oh, by white you mean? Or by black, or who are you referring to? You mean black. I don't think so, because as long as you don't kill off these stones, then white has to worry about them. If black keeps getting stronger in the middle, then you're absolutely going to worry about more stones being added to those cutting stones, because you're threatening like things like, if we get a wall, then you're threatening Miai. So I think cutting those off might be bad. Alright, so... stupid client. Sorry, I had my email pop up. Alright, so white pushes down, and black is happy to continue because he's getting a nice wall here. This move, however, is actually pretty good. He's not just passively going to try to live, he's fighting back. So this move has to be found. If you don't find this move, then it's kind of just like a one-way street for black. So you have to counterattack. Especially since Sedol invited the counterattack. He didn't just, for example, jump down straight. He's inviting the fight, because he's creating a small knight, and I think he definitely knows small knights can be cut. Just gonna guess. So alright, he cuts here. Now there are two things being fought for. There's the center and those middle stones. White has to decide what he wants to do. Obviously those cutting stones are valuable because they're cutting stones, so he's going to defend them. Black extends. Have to kill off the old cutting stones. Get rid of the Aji. Get rid of the Aji. Now at this point, it should be noted that white's picking up territory, right? A lot of territory being picked up on top of the board. However, the 3-3 lives. If black plays the 3-3, he'll live in the corner whenever he wants, unless white gets a chance to go back and play a move in Gote to remove that possibility. So it's hard to count how much territory white has in the upper left-hand corner, because this part of it can vanish unless another move is played. So without that yielding results, we have to go and play here, and play here, and play here, because white doesn't want to be dead. So regretfully, white is forced to make this kind of exchange, because he needs to make sure this large group is A-okay. And you don't want to make sure it's A-okay in a different way. You don't want to be like, I don't even know how you would start. I don't know. You wouldn't want to try to live local, because that would be even larger for black. You have no choice but to ensure like this middle group doesn't connect up to that corner, because if it gets like a complete wraparound like this, that would be worth like infinity points right there, right? So you can't have that happen. So we get to push, and even here it's the same thing. Like if we don't respond, connecting to that corner, really, really big. Same thing. Now it's not connected, so that's something. Now he needs to be able, white needs to be able to approach the corner. But for now, black takes away or kills the cutting stones because he's not leaving those to chance. There's no reason to, especially since these cutting stones are kind of kaputski. AlphaGo approaches, trying to use the influence to surround something. That's good. That's pretty good. Sedol, on the other hand, uses his influence to develop. And then we see something a little strange. AlphaGo played here to get rid of the Aji of the two stones. And I think everyone agrees that this move was too slow. Because we have got way too much going on the board right now. This kind of feels like a violation of our wonderful proverb, don't play away when your house is on fire. Because we've got an unresolved approach. We've got black that's trying to use the influence. And white just played away to defend cutting stones that arguably aren't going to be able to do much anyway. So this was another questionable result. I mean, I like the result that black got for himself after this fight. Being able to get this, along with the fourth one on the right-hand side, being able to develop it, all this is very good for black. But alright, white played away. Can't B get midstones with H13 still. What's H13 still? H13. B get midstones with H13? You mean now? Cadence? Before. There are some variations there. Let's not ruin the tree again. Let's just play away and have this go there. Oh, sorry. You said 13. This does get really complicated, drawing out this empty triangle. But this is just another fight. Because white has pretty good shape here. And white can extend. Right? So it's tough to say what's going to happen there. But that's just another battle. One that would probably solidify white's corner in the upper left, I would think, in the exchange. But alright, white got rid of the... it is crazy fun, that's true. So this gets rid of all of the Aji. Black gets to approach again. White attaches. White attaches. Cuts, trying to over-concentrate black, I guess. Extending down's a little bit of an interesting move, because if we play normally, then we're expecting this, right? Something like this. This is a little bit more interesting because it seems like black has aims on the corner now. Like maybe this is a move that he can actually play since he descended instead of played the other variation. White bends. Black gets to Atari. And Atari. Now his middle is profitable. This is a really, really large middle because he's getting an insane amount of points here. Right? I mean, that's, what, 9 lines right there? That's a lot of territory. Plus, the corner is still open. White has to Atari. Black extends. White reduces. It's only about 50 points. 50 points is an enormous amount, especially when black is still staring at 4th line territory on the right side of the board, and an open 3-3 in the upper left part of the board. All eyes essentially right now are turning on to this, because white now has his work cut out for him. There's a lot white has to do, because black just got so much in the middle. He needs this in compensation, but he also has to make this do work. White plays here, blocking off one of the ways that black can live, remember, so we have to live. So we're getting this Incente, which admittedly is also pretty large, because if black connects here, then that's just more territory for black. That's a really big corner for black now. So forcing us to go back and live is pretty good. Did I mess up again? No, I didn't. Whew. Thought I needed to kill. And now we're alive. I mean, we can connect here, but we can't get rid of second eye, sadly. Now here's where everything takes a turn. Like right now, I think everyone agrees that black's kind of been in the driver's seat since the fight broke out in the center of the board. Because the position that he got was really, really good. So I don't think anyone would argue with the fact that black is doing pretty good on this board. And white needs to make some serious magic happen, because he needs a good result on the right. He needs Sente, and he needs the 3-3 defended in the upper left. Because if that disappears, that's a lot of his potential territory. So it starts here with the invasion. So it starts here with this invasion. And here's where things take a turn, because black responds normally to surround. Okay. This, I said I was going to talk about mistakes at the end of the game, but I've been breaking that left and right, so let's just continue it. This is argued to be a mistake as well, potentially, because what we're about to see is a sacrifice of those stones to try to get in an exchange. These 3 stones in exchange for this being killed. Right? And if you're going to do that, pushing is probably not needed. But alright, black plays here, kill off the stones. White drops down. Pushes. Looks like that's a dead. And now we don't have to worry about killing off the 3 stones in the center. Never want to waste liberties, so says chat. Alpha does not know that. It looked like Alpha doesn't know that. But I'm going to go into more of my thoughts about that later on. So here's the problem with this. After this exchange, white got Sente to go back and play this. So this unfortunately died for black, and white got Sente. The only thing that could go wrong here is if something bad happens here in Sente, so white can go back and take this move. However, at this point, this is what was needed for white to make the game close. This is now a close game. Before this, Black was leading. Now the game is a bit close. Black makes the exchange here, because this is a good forcing move. Arguably, this should probably be played first. One moment, technical difficulties. My stream apparently went down despite the fact that it says I'm still broadcasting. I'm sorry, why might Black want to make the exchange at b5? Options later in the corner. Technically, you might also want to play here to try to get extra in the corner. But, whatever. This is fine. Black got in a good forcing move, and potential for later. This S13 is actually really big. S13 is now saying, if you don't respond to me, if this isn't Sente, I can kill off your 3 stones here. Alpha instead connects, and then Black went insane. Black played the move he regrets the rest of the game. Black played here. Why did Black play here? Can anyone tell me why? Why is this the move that Black regrets the rest of the game? Because the game was closer right now, but Black is still potentially leading. Exactly. Yes, Chad is right. He wants to try to kill everything. The minute Black ignored him, he's now looking at the fact that he could take this in Sente. Like, if he forces R5 to live in Gote, and he uses Sente to go back and kill off these 3 stones, then where are White's eyes? He can kill off the entire dragon. Normal play would be to go back and play here. I think the only person that would actually entertain the notion of killing something that large is the Sedol, because he's tried it before. Because if you play this way and make this exchange, that cut point is huge. If you protect the cut point, your corner is fine. You can even then go back and play this. Because this won't kill you. I mean, this is just a carpenter square, right? You can play here, but we're fine. Actually, it's not even a carpenter square because that's even Sente. So the corner's fine. So you can get your corner territory and kill off the 3 stones. That would be a really big difference in what you're about to see. What you're going to see instead is, unfortunately, we have a probe here by Alpha. Black connects. White responds. Black extends. White extends. And now, rather than try and do anything weird by keeping the corner, Black's separating because he's after that larger attack against the entire center. He wants this to live in Gote, so he can go and take the top, and then potentially kill all of it. I'm not sure how many other professionals would have tried to make that same decision. But Sedol is Sedol. He's really aggressive. So he saw something that he might be able to kill, and he went for it. Unfortunately, it costs him too much. Because Alpha manages to Alpha manages to live, in the corner in Sente. because of this move is not sente for black. Like, even if we take our 2 right now, white can still live in the corner. So after this, white manages to get get those stones, and even though white gets to take a couple of the Q2 in response, he can't kill it. The corner doesn't die. So this exchange wasn't a good one. This exchange was based on the idea that the middles can be killed, but there's no way to do that. Yeah, and that's the thing. The game ended with Sedol having 30 minutes left on his clock, compared to AlphaGo. I think AlphaGo might have been down to 7. So he had the time to make another read of this, to be absolutely certain before he gives up the corner. Right? So yeah, he absolutely should have read that again. Because I'm pretty certain that if he goes down this variation, then it's his game. Because now that this was played, white's like 3 points ahead. So we can make this exchange. That's great. We can make this exchange. That's also great. The bottom right corner is enormous because white managed to pick up all of these extra points and save his stones here. This is a huge swing. This is an insanely large swing. So let's see. White plays here. Has to take. No, I'm sorry, I'm retarded. Connects first. There we go. We don't take that yet, though. White gets this move in first. Yeah, no, the tree is beautiful. I know. We play here, kill off the 2 stones. Threaten the corner. White threatens to come in. Threatens to kill. Obviously we can't, but we can threaten to all day. Black picks up some points in the corner. But at this point, it's too much. I mean, white can connect up now in the corner. Black has no choice but to go back and defend, which allows white to take the top. Rabbit suggested C13 instead of L11? L1, sorry. Yeah. I liked Redman's idea too. I'm very curious to see how Sedol would have handled this move. Because a large source of territory is the fact that white managed to expand on the area that he had here. C13 would have been a very interesting one. So from here, maybe black can still get a lead back again. But he's in this position because, unfortunately, he did try to kill that huge dragon. Like, up until then, he was doing very, very well. Isn't L1 forcing here, though? That is certainly a fight. That is certainly a fight. Because C13 is forcing too, because you're attaching to a stone. And taking a very large extension because of it. Whoops. There we go. So he plays here. He gets this move in. Picks up some endgame. AlphaGo, unfortunately, is not going to make a mistake in endgame because it's a computer and it can calculate. So definitely not going to make mistakes there. I'm sorry, I'm seeing my chat. Someone missed me going over this game. It's gonna be on YouTube, promise. What are we on here? There. White takes, connects underneath. There's forcing move here. And here's where Sedol resigns, sorry, because he's about 3 points or so behind now. And he owes it all, sadly, to lower right-hand corner. You count at 6.5? Because, yeah, the bottom right, I mean, if you want to know where those 6 points came from, it came from here and this not dying. Like, the upper right didn't have to die. The upper right didn't have to die. You could, for example, make this exchange to here, and then go back and play this. But then that's still very huge. So black would still be ahead. I think the only way... W has K2 now. Yes. Unlike in the game, White played K2 in the game too. Oh, but black got Sente to go back and connect? Is that what you're saying? Ah, I see. I think it's still too much. Even getting in K2. I think it's still too much. Because you also have to consider that black doesn't have to cut through here yet because his corner is fine. Right? So after this, and you take here, you could actually still get rid of that or take larger points right now. Because now moves that white has to get in K2, white has to connect here. White didn't get the 6 extra points in the lower right hand corner. Black's keeping Sente to maybe make this exchange. Right? I'm not sure which unconventional move he's referring to there, Dwyrin. Probably L15 from what you hear. L15. This one? Possibly, yeah. Yeah, that could have been it. It definitely provoked a very complicated fight, but Sedol seemed to have been able to handle it very, very well. Maybe it was L12? Yep. Maybe. Maybe. But let's see, where's the actual variation? 1 second, need to find the right tree. Here we go. Alright, so as a result of this game, I've been reading a lot of interesting commentary on Reddit and Facebook recently on how, what is it? Some people have been suggesting that AlphaGo is 2 stones stronger than Sedol. I absolutely don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. I think this is a game that only Sedol could have lost. And sadly, I think he lost it because he tried to go after the larger kill. I think right now, if Sedol can play like he did in this game, then AlphaGo has to play better. Otherwise, I doubt Sedol will try to go for this mistake again. I don't think Sedol will pass up points to try for a kill like he did in the lower right-hand corner. Yeah, some people did say Sedol wasn't playing his best. That's certainly one thing that I was worried about going into this, because those of you who are watching on KGS won't be able to see this, but those of you watching on the stream and on YouTube in a minute will certainly be able to see this. This has actually been a very, very, very busy week for Sedol, because in a little over 7 days, Sedol has had a game against AlphaGo, he's had a game against Kaji, he's played Ayama Yuta, he's played other 7 Dans, 8 Dans, 9 Dans. He's played like 6 games in a little over a week. So his schedule is really, really packed. I wouldn't be surprised if he's pushing his limits right now, because that's a really disgusting schedule. I mean, you have to figure that Yamauta right now, for example, is definitely not a pushover. Kaji, he's got really bad record against. So he's a busy person this week. I'm very surprised this got scheduled in the same week that the Nongshim Cup did, to be completely honest. That I thought was a little bit unusual. So we'll have to see if Sedol's stamina actually continues throughout the week, or if it doesn't. Another thing that was interesting is they're actually talking about this game, believe it or not. I was watching this morning, a StarCraft 2 match was taking place, and they were talking about this even in a StarCraft tournament. They were referencing this game that was only a few hours old. And one thing that was mentioned in it was, what did he say? Yeah, Tasteless and Artosis. They were talking about both the tournament. They're talking about how someone was doing a program to try to tackle Brood War, StarCraft 1. And they got into discussion about that because of the new developments with AlphaGo, and this is being talked about all over the place, believe it or not. Which is kind of interesting to see. I never thought I would hear people in esports tournament, for example, talking about a game of Go that they were playing, or that they had watched previously. Sorry. So that was kind of cool. Well, the interesting thing there, Rukus, is I said that if they actually did create a program, they'd have to limit it, because they thought they were of the opinion that it would be fundamentally unfair if it could actually have like unlimited APM against a human with a finite APM. So how you would actually like create that program would be interesting. I thought that would actually have interesting ramifications or connections to Go too, because it kind of touches upon that as well. Like, I actually wonder how many variations Alpha actually had to go through to be able to play this game compared to Sedol. Like, how much does it understand? How many arguably useless variations did it have to go out and read through during the course of the game to get here? Like, is it able to disregard things that that even a 5Q, for example, wouldn't have to read out? Or does it have more of a general understanding of the game? So that's the data that I'd be kind of interested in. Do you think it's coming up with the amount of hardware AlphaGo uses? Yeah, doesn't it use like a crazy amount of power? Didn't someone do the math on how much electricity the thing uses to actually power it? AlphaGo is at its limit when playing Lee. Yeah, again, I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see just how many variations the thing had to use. Because I think it would be a bit more interesting if they made a bot, or if they made a program that actually understood the game at a human level. If that makes any sense. Is more around 6,000 watts. But anyway, those of you who are trying to make predictions on what's going to happen throughout the rest of the series, I'll be surprised if Alpha picks up another win. Unless this gets to Lee Sedol. I think Lee Sedol should be confident that he can do well in the fighting. So yeah, I will definitely be looking at the next match as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it on stream or not, as depends on how the game goes. If the game goes interestingly enough, I absolutely will. If it's not, then not so much. We'll see. There are other people, there are other games and other people playing this month besides, or this week even, besides Sedol and Alpha, so we'll have to see. But I hope he doesn't make another mistake like that. Hope he doesn't. However, Alpha did just prove itself useful in the very least. Like, one thing it's proven itself is it won't let you close out a game if you play a slack move. And that's huge. I mean, that alone for application is really, really big. So yeah, we'll have to see how it continues to play. Shall have to continue to see how it plays. In the meantime, hope you guys enjoyed this particular game. My review, such as it was. My opinions on how this game went. And my predictions for the future. If Sedol stays on course, I think he's okay. And I also want to point out any Europeans thinking about going to the European Go Congress, you can find the link on YouTube's description down below. They have their website up for their 60th anniversary. They've got over 300 people currently signed up for their Congress, and I'm sure they would like to have you as well. So make sure you check that out and see if you're interested, and I will see you all next time. Take care, everybody.